So recently I decided that a lot of my interests that I currently am interested in is not really something that I would create content about on YouTube at the moment. So I'm just going to create content about what I'm actually doing. So I'm a consultant. I work with a ton of different clients. I work with e-com clients, lawyers. I work with, you know, banks, so on and so forth. And the way that I get these clients is not the way that people on YouTube tell you to get clients. Like, I don't do cold emails or anything like that. I simply just have good relationships from past work that I've done, and people just remember me, right? And a lot of the times, those relationships and those connections come from LinkedIn because I add a lot of the people that I used to work with or people that know of me on those platforms, and then I speak to them, right? So I say that to say, first, I want to teach you a couple of things that's very, very important, especially in today's day and age. Number one, everyone right now is saying that being a consultant, being selling courses, doing anything within the info space is going to die because of AI. There's a problem with that, however. The problem is that if you think about how most people make progress in their life to get the outcomes that they want, it never comes from generalized knowledge. It comes from specific knowledge. And specific knowledge is based upon experience. So experience triumphs general information, right? And experience is where you derive your specific information from. So, what does that mean? It means that because most people want specific tips to achieve a specific outcome, as long as specificity is important, which it will be forever, and I'll tell you why in just a minute, info businesses will never die. Because the thing is that this person who wants to achieve said goal, like let's say you're a person who wants to get a job in digital marketing, but you don't even know, you want a job in digital marketing. However, you are unaware of what is the portfolio that you need to get a job. Is there a three-stage interview? How are they different at different companies? What's the difference between the dynamic at an in-house company and being interviewed in that scenario versus being interviewed by an agency? What are agencies looking for versus what are in-house companies looking for? Like this information is very, very specific. And so you have to take action. Now, obviously, this is a low barrier to entry thing. You can get the specifics after you do it a certain amount of times, and it's not hard to do. You literally just leap into doing it because you can apply to any job on the internet, right? So it's not hard. It's not hard to actually take action and get this information. However, there are tons of different roles or different things that people want that is extremely hard to get this specific information because they have things that hold them back, whether it's finances, right? Like you might want to make an investment that you can't afford to invest in because you don't even know if it's going to be worth the risk because you have never done this before. And so you feel like an imposter, and you also feel like if you were to do this, that something could go wrong. So, what would be the smartest thing to do would be to hire someone who has done this before you and who can advise you on the specifics of how to succeed at doing this, right? So, specific information is not going anywhere. Generalized information that anybody can find on the internet is going somewhere. Like when in the beginning of this video, I started off by saying that I am an independent consultant and I work with a lot of agencies that recommend clients to me that I work on their behalf, right? That's a specific thing. You probably want to know how exactly to get the same thing because it's not easy to find and it's not easy to know what to do to get there. It's not easy to know how to negotiate this with an agency or if I'm even negotiating this with an agency, right? What if there's agencies that exist like this that just do this and you just don't know about them, right? So it's specific information to save you from the headache of all of the mistakes And if you want to learn that, by the way, leave a comment below. But so that's the first thing, right? Information work is not going anywhere as long as people need specific information. And even if they can converse with a LLM, they're still unaware of the specifics that they need, right? They haven't dived into the abyss, into the unknown to know what exactly they need to know. So you're problem unaware. And that's where information is very powerful. The second thing, a long time ago, what the scenario that I'm going to talk about, well, let me first by stating the scenario. When you work with clients or you work with a company and they give you a scope of work, it is very important, even if you're in a job, it is very, very important to make sure that you look at this scope of work and that you articulate back what this scope of work says. And you need to make sure that everything that you are articulating is based off of an end goal. You don't want to articulate the steps of what you need to do in order to accomplish the end goal. You want to articulate the end goal because if you know the desired outcome, then it's easy for you to build something. A long time ago, I had a supervisor when I was working in corporate America. And what he used to do was tell me to do things a specific way. And he would give me all of these details in the step-by-step instructions. And then when I would do it, he would ask me, why did you do it that way? And because I was afraid of confrontation, I would not tell him, well, you told me to do it like this. I would say, oh, maybe I misinterpreted you. Maybe I heard you wrong. Sorry, I didn't know that this is what you didn't want. And eventually this happened over and over and over again to the point where he started to think that I was the screw up, that I was genuinely making these mistakes and it had nothing to do with him. Right. And so to get myself out of this pickle, what I had to do was record our conversations. And I had to record, I let him know that I was recording the conversations and I would tell him that it's so that I don't make a mistake, even though I knew he was the one making the mistake. And so I would use the recordings to show him exactly what he articulated to me that he wanted, right? And where this started to run into issues was following the step-by-step instructions. So now when I'm talking to someone, no matter who it is, if it's a client or if it's a boss or if it's whatever, I'm not asking what are the steps that you want me to take. I'm asking what would you like to accomplish? Because I have a brain. I'm a human being. I don't need you to think for me. I can think for myself. I just need you to tell me what you want. And therefore, when I do that and I am able to create this thing, I can come back to you. And if you have a problem with the thing that I have created, I can articulate it to you and tell you why it solves the problem that you have, right? So whenever you are dealing with scope of work or dealing with doing tasks for people, you never want to know the step-by-step procedure or the step-by-step process. You want to know exactly what do they want to the outcome to be. Right. And when you know that, then it's easy to defend because a lot of the times you will run into situations where you will be forced to defend yourself. Right. And so you have to go into the corporate game playing on defense. Right. And it sucks. It's not what I want to do. It's not what I want to encourage you to do. But it's the reality. Right. It's the reality, a reality that you really can't control. So, So today I was looking at some scope of work from a new client. As I'm looking at it, I noticed all of these errors, all of these mistakes. And, to me, I'm just looking at, I'm like, who wrote this? So I sent it to the person who wrote it. And I said, hey, can you explain to me what exactly this means? And within 5 minutes of this conversation, this person realized and recognized all of the issues with the scope of work, right? And saw that everything did not make sense and had to elaborate to me on what should actually be done. There were things in this scope of work that were already completed that were yet being duplicated in this process again. So you had to clarify that. There were things that quite literally sounded like gobbledygook. He actually said this himself. I would never use that word, right? But he said that. So if he is more closer to the client than I am, and he saw this himself after I pointed it out, well, this should show you why you need to always elaborate and articulate yourself on the issues that you are running into when you're looking at new scopes of work, right? You need to get clarity. If you don't have clarity, you will not be able to make the progress that you want, and you may potentially ruin the relationship with the client and lose the client altogether. So thanks a lot for watching this video. And this is what I'm going to start doing more, just talking about things that I'm dealing with as a consultant and things that I'm thinking about. And if you find this helpful, leave a comment below. If there's anything that you want to know specifically, leave a comment below. If there's anything that I said in this video that interests you about what I do, leave a comment below. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.